Whether you call it a goal, a resolution, or even your vision for the new year, stay tuned so we can talk about whatever you call it.
Hey mamas! Welcome back to The Balanced Mom.
So today we want to talk about New Year's resolutions, but I know a lot of people are super anti-resolution, so you can call them goals, you can call them your vision for the year, whatever you want to call them. Let's talk about that though. What are some of the most important things that we should be focusing on as moms?
So when we were talking about our resolutions, there are 4 areas that we found that we had in common, and we also think that they're super crucial for any mom to focus on in the new year.
So our first one is time with God. And I know oftentimes we want to spend more time with God, but I think the question is, how are you going to spend time with God? So actually decide on how often will you do it, how long will you spend time in God's Word? Because I know last year, because I didn't prioritize it and because I didn't set an actual time for it, sometimes it would happen, sometimes the day would pass by, I'd pass out in bed and the next day I'm like, oh, I didn't get to it. So definitely prioritize it.
So for me personally, this is like a goal for me every single year. But last year and most years, what I try to do is I try to wake up like an hour before the kids so I have time to work out and I have time to spend time in the Word. But that makes me hate these things really, really fast because I'm not a morning person. I hate waking up early. So when I have to work out super early and spend time in God's Word, it makes it a chore instead of something that I really enjoy doing. So what I've done instead, and it's actually worked out for me so far, is instead of trying to fit it in before my day starts, I try to fit it into my day. And so I follow sort of a loose routine. So I wake up, I get dressed, I get the kids dressed, I give them breakfast, and then immediately after breakfast is my time with God. And so it works out this way because the kids are usually busy with their toys because it's their first time that they get to see them for the day. So I have about a 20-minute window where they're not distracting me and calling me for things. And that's my time when I sit down, and I actually like to Bible journal. So I'll just read through a book of the Bible and then I will meditate on it. I will either write down things that stuck out to me or I'll research it and then I'll draw about how it made me feel. Bible journaling for me is a really great way to spend time with God because it makes it interactive and it actually helps me to grow in my faith and helps me to grow closer in my relationship with God.
So I don't do a specific time because ideally I have it written down for the morning and I'd love to get it done in the morning, how you said, waking up before the kids, but that doesn't always happen. And I can't do it once they're awake because we start school after breakfast and it just doesn't work out. But what I do like to do then is make sure that I do it at the end of the day, which usually I'm so wiped, but for some reason I think getting into the habit of doing it in the morning and now kind of slipping lately and doing it more at night, I'm super excited to actually get to it at night. So it has worked really nice. I feel like anything I hold off for the end of the day, I'm just so wiped by then, but it just somehow has worked.
Something my husband and I prioritize is to do nightly couples devotions together because we feel like it's really important to have a relationship with God together, not just individually. And so we do something called Nightlight by James Dobson, and it's a super short, 5-minute devotional you can read, and it just gives us an opportunity to pray together and to talk about what's on our minds, and usually we have really good conversation about it, and it just keeps us on track to intentionally spend time together with God.
Ladies, don't forget that might not work for everyone. This is not a chance to go force your husband to do this with you. It's okay if it doesn't work for you. It's okay if your husband's like, yeah, that's not what we do, because that's not what we do. I sometimes can say that we have done our devos together, like a couples devotion, but that's just not our go-to, and that's totally fine.
And also keep in mind that it doesn't have to be long, because if you have to spend 30 minutes doing this, kind of like how I mentioned waking up super early to do this, it becomes something of a chore and something that you don't look forward to doing and you resent. That's why we really enjoy the Nightlight, because it's literally only 5 minutes we have to spend together doing it. So it's really easy to fit it in. So ladies, the second thing we found that we had in common was our goals to work out for the year.
So it feels like everyone prioritized it at some point and then we all slip off that wagon unless you're super awesome, like those super workout amazing people, and they just continue. But I'm not one of them. So the truth is it's always my goal to work out, and then the truth is in my 33 years of life, I feel like I worked out a little bit in college when I worked at a gym and then a little bit in my adulthood, and it's always my goal. So it's ridiculous that I've only worked out a little. But this year I'm doing a bit of a different approach. And that's just making sure that, yes, it's on my schedule and I want to do a workout that's only 20 minutes, because other years I'd be like, I'm going to do this 45-minute workout, and it just didn't work out. 20 minutes, and my goal is 4 times a week, and that's because I ended the year with 3 times a week. So I thought I'm going to push myself to the next level.
I already mentioned this before, but the key for me is following a loose schedule or a routine. And so what I do is after my Bible journaling in the morning, we move on to working out, and I try to do it together with the kids, but just doing it every day in this order helps me to keep up with it, and making sure I do it every day, because I know you need a day of rest in between, but what I found is if I'm resting because I'm sore, the next day I just break out of the mode or something and I just can't get back into it. And so what I've started doing is I will put a stretching day in there. So it could be a quick like 10-minute YouTube video on stretching, something super simple, but at least it's something that's sort of related that fits into that time slot, so I'm still in the habit of doing it every single day. One other thing that I think will really help is accountability, especially right now in COVID when it's really hard to get to the gym and do it with another person. My sister and I have made the commitment to text each other every day to let each other know what we're doing, and so we could send a link to the YouTube video we're doing and maybe do the same one together. But just having to send a text to someone else letting them know that you worked out keeps you accountable, and if you forgot about it for the day, it reminds you.
So speaking of that, we started a family schedule together, and it helps me to keep my husband accountable for his goals, and he's able to help me keep me accountable for my goals. And it has helped a lot, because if I don't work out, I feel like he is like, hey, how come you didn't work out? And it's a good conversation where you're like, you're right, I do need to get better at it. And it's good back and forth conversation on, hey, you didn't get to this.
Guys, it's also super important to find someone that you like following. YouTube is super easy because there's so much stuff out there to find someone that you like watching. So if you're doing a video and you find that you hate doing it every day, just switch it up. You can do a different video every day. And if you find somebody that you like, that's great. Follow them and keep doing their videos. For me, I found Pop Pilates or Blogilates. I always try to do something different, but I always end up going back to her videos. She's super encouraging, super gentle, and she's fun. So she's worked out for me.
I feel like I just keep switching it up every single week. I do stick to one person. I noticed that because I have my 5-year-old that usually works out with me, she really likes Mad Fit. So I just think it's cute, and I think she likes her because her middle name is Maddie and the lady's name is Maddie. So she's always like, let's work out with Maddie. The point is that there's tons and tons of videos out there. Make sure you type in the word beginner so that you're not like super extremely sore that you don't want to do it the next day, and then again you fall off this wagon of wanting to work out.
So the absolute biggest motivator for me is having something to look forward to. What I mean by that is the best times in my life that I've stuck with working out was leading up to my honeymoon, because I knew I was going to be going to Mexico and I wanted to be fit for it. Again, I was planning to go to Mexico last year. That was supposed to be in March, and I literally worked out every single day from January to March, and then as soon as it got canceled because of COVID, I stopped working out. And so we planned another vacation for the summer, and then now I'm like back on the bandwagon, and I'm trying to get it through my mind that I need to be motivated like outside of just working for trips. But if you need something initially to get you motivated to start working out, just plan a reward for yourself. It could even be like a weekend trip away somewhere, but it's a really good way to get you started.
Yeah, or like a mom vacation where you go with another mom for the weekend. I feel like my priority for working out is just because I want to make sure as I get older, I have more energy than my kids instead of less energy. Because I feel like as I got older, even now, I'm just starting to feel that like achiness in the morning and like just being tired all the time. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want my kids to remember, oh, mommy was always so tired. I want to make sure that they remember, mommy was always so energetic. And I love that. And so as I get older, I want them to remember me in my 40s being super energetic, super hyper, ready to like conquer the day with them. And of course, there's always the health benefit, but the main reason for me is the energy. It's basically my cup of coffee, but instead it's working out.
So I'm not a coffee drinker, but I will say that working out has definitely helped to be an energy booster for me too. So if you're someone that needs to see your progress to feel motivated, I highly recommend taking pictures of yourself throughout the process, just so you can see the little changes, because it takes a while sometimes to see the changes, but if you're taking pictures and documenting it, you will notice them.
Yeah, you definitely get stronger too. I have a 30-pound baby who's been 30 pounds for so many months now. He's a year and a half, and he hit 30 pounds right after I think he was a year old, and he was so heavy. I always was tense, and now that I'm working out and I lift him, like, oh, he's a piece of cake. So make sure that you find your motivator so you can actually keep with it and continue working out throughout the year.
The third goal that we found on both of our lists was to be more intentional with our kids.
So when the kids were little, we decided we wanted to do one-on-one date nights with the kids, and then each kid basically takes a turn. So 1 month one child comes, and the next month another child comes, and usually it's with daddy, sometimes it's with me, because I just had the idea that I wanted it. It wasn't intentional. I didn't have it written down. I didn't even know when it would happen. It just kind of sporadically happened. It didn't work as well as I wanted it to. So we started the new year, and when we sat down to do our family schedule, we decided to actually write it down. So I know each of my kids will get one-on-one time with me every single week.
And what does that one-on-one time look like?
it is totally up to them. Like one of the times my daughter just wanted help with getting her planner all set up with different colors, and she just wanted help with it, which I thought was super sweet that she wanted to do it with me. Other nights, the kids have just asked me to like look up things that they had questions about, and so we looked them up. I mean, it's totally up to them. One night I played chess, and I haven't played chess in years.
So we also strive to do the one-on-one date nights with the kids, but with COVID, it's actually been really hard because there's less things to do outside the house with them. And so I actually really love this idea of having one-on-one time with them at home. So I actually think we're gonna steal that. I think that's really fun.
And here's a little sweet one. So some of the kids were playing outside, my little one was napping, and so my 5-year-old was inside, and I kind of felt bad that she wasn't playing outside. I was like, do you wanna have one-on-one time with mommy now? We could have a little date. She was so excited. So you can do sweet little moments where it's just sporadic instead of planned, but I do feel like it's super sweet, and I do like having it written down because that way they know like, oh, it's my night with mommy now, or it's my night with daddy now, so it just helps. And keep in mind, you don't have to set a long time. It doesn't have to be an hour. We usually do about 20 to 30 minutes. The night we played chess was like a 45-minute game, but hey, it happens.
So I really like that you guys do it for like 20 to 30 minutes because it makes it more attainable, and the fact that it's weekly instead of once a month. I just like that it gives you more quality time with them, more regular quality time.
So the fourth and last area that we found that we have in common is making sure that we prioritize and that we are intentional in our marriage, which is one of the areas that I feel like can totally slip, and we as moms tend to kind of let it go to the side and prioritize our kids.
Especially when you're in survival mode. So kind of like how she schedules in one-on-one time with her kids on a certain night of the week, we prioritize Wednesdays as our date nights, and so it could be date night out or date night in, but we always set aside a chunk of time on Wednesdays to do a special activity together, other than watching a show or watching a movie, because that's generally our go-to if we get any extra time together after the kids go to sleep. So for example, this week we have started a paint by number. It's taken a really long time, but we both really enjoy being creative, and while we're painting together, we're talking together and checking in with each other about our week and how we're feeling, and it's just really good quality time to spend together. Finding really good creative date night in ideas is really crucial at this time, especially because of COVID, and it's good even when COVID is not an issue because not everyone can afford to go out every single week. And so having good date night in alternatives is really, really helpful.
And I heard this awesome tip on date nights, which is have your husband plan one week and then you plan the next week. And keep in mind, this is not just leaving the house. This is like inside the house. Like you need to be creative and then he can be creative and you can take turns. I love that idea because it takes the pressure off of always being the one to like plan it. I do have to say that it depends on the chapter in life, but right now we're at the place where we just want to make sure that we connect, and we have 2 like date nights. One is more like a talking night and one is more like trying to be creative, even if that means, guys, like honestly chopping up vegetables for whatever recipe is to come. Like we try to be creative, but sometimes it doesn't work, and that's totally okay.
And the switching off who plans every week is really good because I really love games. So for me, my typical date night that I plan is like an at-home escape room or a long round of Hogwarts Battle, which is like an hour to 2 hour game, and I couldn't normally convince my husband to play it with me otherwise. And so it's good that we switch off because they get to choose some activities that they like, and you also get to choose some activities that you like that you can force them into doing with you.
And again, it depends on the chapter of life that they're in, I feel like, because I can't imagine right now taking turns. Right now, we are just trying to take it easy and making sure that we kind of follow our schedule as best as we can and still have fun. All right, ladies, hopefully some of those goals you can take and actually use and apply it to your 2021.
Go ahead and hit the like button if you have any goals for this year, and go ahead and let us know what they are down in the comment section below.
And if you are still not subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you join us. We hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed year. Thanks for joining us.